Welcome everybody to the LVHA monthly event. We're happy today to have Mr. Jon Taffer, and our very own Mark Shunock from the Golden Knights, who will be our moderator this afternoon. Just in case, Jon has nearly 40 years experience being a thought leader in the entertainment, hospitality, and nightlife industries. Best known as executive producer and star of Bar Rescue, now in its 7th season. Jon is also a New York Times bestseller, has written Don't BS Yourself and Raise the Bar, launched his mixer and seltzer line, Taffer's Mixologist, in 2019, and created a revolutionary new casual dining concept, Taffer's Tavern, with its first location opening in Q3 2020 in Alpharetta, Georgia. Concurrently, Jon also runs Taffer Virtual Teaching, his digital teaching platform, and Taffer Dynamics, his business consulting firm. Over the years, he has consulted for a range of well-known brands, including Fortune 500 hospitality companies. In Vegas, Jon volunteers his time to keep memory alive on the board of directors and offers up his seasoned hospitality skills to the William F. Harrah College of Hotel Administration at UNLV.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome inside this new world that we're living in. It's great to be with you. My name is Mark Shunock. I am coming to you from the MGM Grand. I have a hotel room here, and I'm currently on location with Top Rank Boxing and ESPN in our quarantine bubble as boxing has come back to prime time on ESPN. We are live bringing sports back to you. So I'm actually in a hotel room in Las Vegas, 4 days a week in quarantine in this bubble. Very excited to be with you as we bring you Resetting Las Vegas. And our guest is truly one of a kind, the best in the business. He's a dear friend of mine. He's a Golden Knights fan. We've come to know each other over the last 3 seasons of amazing hockey here in this incredible city. And I'm thrilled and honored to be with him this afternoon for this conversation. Please welcome the one and only Mr. Jon Taffer. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great, Mark. Well, you're hunkered down in MGM. I'm hunkered down. This is my home theater at home in Summerlin. But there's some really important topics that we need to talk about today. So, I want this to be a serious discussion. And I'm not here talking to you as a TV guy. You might know me from Bar Rescue. Some of you might know me from the news or the business networks. I want you to know a little about me before TV because I want today to matter. I want my words to have real credibility. When I started in this business, I ran the famous Troubadour in Hollywood, running a live venue. I went to Barney's Beanery, also another Hollywood legend. I was a regional vice president for a steak and seafood house in the Southeast for a number of years. I became food and beverage director. It was then one of the largest resorts in the world, Grossinger's in the Catskill Mountains. Became resident manager of that property with 1,700 rooms in its day. Opened Pulsations nightclub in Philadelphia with a 27-foot spaceship and a robot that came down on the dance floor, probably reminiscent of an Omnia today. And then became vice president of a hotel management company before I started my own company. And then I owned 17 properties, won Operator of the Year, Property of the Year. I tell you these things because I want you to know I know what the heck I'm talking about. I've consulted to hundreds of companies, sat on boards, provided keynotes and speeches all over the world. And after doing all of this, I have this basis of knowledge that I want to share with you today. You know me from Bar Rescue. Bar Rescue is an audience of 91 million. It's the largest influencing platform in the entire beverage space. I went into the consumer products business with Taffer Mixology. I went into the distilling business at Frey Ranch Whiskey. I created digital products like Taffer Virtual Teaching, Bar HQ, and Smart POS. I tell you this only because let's make today matter. When this pandemic started, the first minute of it, I focused on how do we reset, how do we open. I'm one who studies human behavior. I study eye movement. I study merchandising. What goes where? How does it go there? How do I steer human behavior to make it more profitable to me? This is what I've studied for almost 40 years in our industry. So when this pandemic started, and COVID started to come out, I started to look at all of our business models way back in March. I looked at what I anticipated the market response would be. I took a look at what I thought competitive conditions would be. And I looked really hard at what changes in consumer behavior were going to happen because of this. And over these past months, I've done billions of news impressions from my house here in Summerlin. My bar is now a studio. And I've said so many things that everybody said was wrong. Back in the second week in March, I predicted 50% capacity. I predicted that kitchens would be wearing masks, predicted distancing, predicted wider retail aisles, predicted how delivery would be impacted, predicted that cities had to create more outdoor dining to compensate for the seating lost inside. And when I did all of these predictions, I can remember going on Fox News when Laura Ingraham looked at me and said, "Nah, that'll never happen, John. That's just too much. It'll never happen." Well, it did. So in studying all of this, I learned that we're not restarting Las Vegas. We're not reopening our businesses. We're resetting. And I want to pick that apart. It's a reset, not a reopening. So when we think about social distancing, when we get a vaccine, and I think personally we'll have one in October, but that's a separate discussion. When we get that vaccine, what happens when somebody's sneezing in a room? Aren't we all going to start to distance? What happens when somebody has a cold or sneezes in a room themselves? Aren't they going to distance? So the premise of distancing, whereas it might be gone when COVID-19 vaccines happen, I don't think it's gone forever. Now, sure, we'll get our restaurant capacities back, but in the normal day-to-day actions of life, make no mistake, sanitation, distancing, protecting each other, and us protecting the person next to me are more evident and have a much higher and paramount role in our society than they did before this. And that's not going away so quickly. If somebody in the room had a cold, you'd stay away. So everything changes in the eyes of the consumer, and everything changes for the operator. You know, to the customer, it all becomes about trust now. Think about this. Let's say there's a place here in Vegas, wherever it is, that has your favorite burger. You love this burger. You'll travel 4 miles to get this burger on the other side of town. This is your burger place. Post-pandemic, you go there, seems a little disorganized. Maybe it doesn't seem so clean. Maybe nobody's wearing masks. Maybe something looks disorganized. Doesn't feel right. Now you go to where they have your second favorite burger. Think about the power of that one dynamic. The word trust, richeted to the top above product quality in some degree. So in a restaurant business, we have always been about what we do. Now we need to be so much more about how we do it. So yep, you'll go to your second favorite burger if you trust that operation more. You go to your second favorite hotel, your second favorite casino, maybe your third favorite casino if the first two don't feel right. But trust is a powerful dynamic that is changing all of the behavior within consumers. And I want to pick that apart because it's more than restaurants, and it's more than concert venues, and it's more than nightclubs, and more than theaters. Think about even Amazon and delivery at home. How many of us were wiping down boxes, letting them sit for 3 days? This affects deliveries at home now. It affects repairs in your home. It affects how your car is delivered after service. All of this lives on now. And we're going to go where we trust. And I'm not certain that trust is less of a driving factor 6 months from now than it is today. Now, during this period, people are going to start to develop new habits, new patterns with new trusted retailers, new trusted restaurants. And those are the brands that are going to survive at the end of this because they're the brands that are going to connect over the next 6 months. So burger ratchets down, trust ratchets up. But think about this. Building trust isn't easy, is it? I can't build your trust by saying things or just putting billboards up or putting out marketing messages. Trust comes from transparency. Trust comes when people see things that they buy into, especially when their own personal health is on the line. There's skepticism. So how do we create the kind of transparency that builds the kind of trust that gets 42 million people back to our city? Well, there's a way to go through this process, and nobody else is talking about it. I want to tell you what it is, and it shocks me that nobody else is talking about this. Back in March, I predicted that when customers came back out, it would happen in thirds. The first third of the returning customers would be immediate. They'd be younger, they'd have less disposable income, they'd feel a little fearless, and they'd come out first. Go look at the strip. They're out there today. That's the first third. The second third I call the reserved third. That second reserved third is going to wait a few weeks. Hold on. They want to see what happens. Do the restaurants look safe? Do the casinos look safe? Are customers acting safe? Are there ridiculous surges? That second third is going to wait and make a determination in a few weeks whether they jump in or not. Then there's the third third, which I call the certain third. And the certain third, they're not coming out until they are certain that they're safe. So they might have to have a vaccine. They might have to have some really solid, predictable treatments. But in any event, that last third is the last one we're going to see. So think about this. The first third makes no assessment. They come out right away. They're younger. They have less disposable income. I call that first third the value third. That's who's here now. They're going to react to low value price points. They're going to react particularly to the perception of value. In a few weeks, as the second third watches, if they start to get comfortable, they're going to come out. The second third is the trust third. They better damn well trust us as a destination and trust us operationally as individual properties before we get that second third. But think of who they are. They're a little older, aren't they? They have a little more disposable income, don't they? They might happen to stay a few days longer, spend more money. Maybe they have a higher gaming drop than the first third. My point is this. The first third is default. We're going to get them. They're almost here now. The second third, we have to earn in the way we treat the first third. If our employees get sick, we're in trouble. If other people in our marketplace get sick, we're in trouble. If we don't manage communications on these fronts, we're in trouble. So managing the first third is critical to getting the second third. The third third, as I mentioned, is certain, but they're the ones with the money. Think about it. Slightly older demo, much higher disposable income level, much more discerning. They're the ones that buy our suites. They're the ones that have our gaming drop. They're the ones that frequent our high-end restaurants. That's all in the third third, not the first third and not the second third. So if we come out of the gate trying to sell $80 and $100 steaks to the first third, we're going to miss the mark. We have to understand that during this process, first third, second third, third third, there's going to be a flow and a shift. I would start with more of a value presentation out of the gate. Maybe a reduced menu, creating a greater perceived value. I would add some energy and music and dynamic because the first third reacts more to that. They're younger. Maybe we can up the energy in our environments to compensate for lack of people. You know, we need to look at our marketing messages, our promotion messages. We need to infuse fun into that first third. That's the younger third that reacts to these things. So how do we do that? What shifts do we make to menu, music, marketing, promotion, communications to realize that first third? Because if we realize them and prove them out, the door opens to the next third. Now take a look at marketing. For the first third, we're going to maybe present, sure, we want to say that we're safe, of course, but we want to present more valuable propositions, right, for that first third. But then, as we start to move into the second third, our marketing communications might change more to trust, right, which is what the second third reacts to. So building trust with the second third as we build value with the first third means there's different messaging, there's a flow to this process. Then when the third third starts to come online, that's a whole different expression again. Now we're talking about what I call a safe experience. Because the third third, the discerning third, wants restaurants open. They want shows open, theaters open. They want a full experience. And that's what we'll market to them. My point is, this is not the same today as it'll be in 4 months. We need to shift with this flow of thirds. We need to start in that value place, build trust, move strongly to the trust environment, and move strongly to the experience flow. And that's the way we need to do that. And we need to do it in 3 ways. And I ask, what is marketing? I ask this question all the time when I do these programs. Well, marketing is only 3 things. New customer programs, frequency programs, and spend programs. That's all we got. So how do we exploit that today? We have less bodies, which means I need more new customers, don't I? I got to drive frequency. I got to drive spend. I got to drive spend when I'm starting with a value proposition for the first third. All of these things need to be thought through now. It's a different way of thinking. So think about new customer. What's going to draw them in the first third, second third, third third? How do we change our languaging? Look at frequency programs, whether they be local based or whether they even be guest based or convention based. How does that change now, and how do we drive frequency? And most important, how do we build spend? Because we have less tables, so we've got to build spend. So promotion. Promotion also has to change, doesn't it? We start with value offerings for the first third, high energy things, fun environments to target that first group. But then we move into the second group, and with the second third, now we need to start to change menus. Maybe we're starting to add menu items. Maybe we're starting to up prices of some menu items. We're moving with the flow of the demographics of our three thirds. And then after that, I move into messaging experiencing. Vegas is back, and now I move back to my certain third where the money is. And I flow through this process. And I'm smart, and I'm nimble. And as I look at which third is here and who's reacting to me, I react to it. And this is a challenge for big corporate entities, because this is not the time for strategy, 3 weeks of review, and then implementation. We need to be nimble right now, and we need to react in real time. So think of the steps we've taken as an industry. We've reduced menus, a lot of us. We have less beer brands, a lot of us. Premium beverages in Las Vegas are down over 50%, spirits. So now maybe we need to take premium spirits off our cocktail program, put some bar drinks on there, and maybe we should sell a margarita instead of a golden margarita for a few weeks. Maybe. So let's look at each of these thirds and how we target them. We need products with quick turnaround times. We don't want to eat up inventory dollars today. We need well-known brands that we can leverage upon. And we need a direct value proposition. If ever we've needed that, it's now. And for the operator, for us, everything's changes that you can see. Seating configuration have changed. Staff appearance have changed. All of our processes and procedures have changed. Customers will see those things, and those are the things that start to build transparency. But I want you to open your mind for a minute. I want you to play with me. What business are we in? You know, I give speeches to graduating university classes and industry conventions and brand conferences all over the world, and I always ask this question: what business are we in? And I love it when the professors say, well, you know, we're in a hospital, we're in a service business. So, you know, some people say we're in a food business, we're in a beverage business, entertainment business, gaming business, events business, marketing business, promotion business. Every one of those is frickin' wrong. We are not in the food or beverage business. We are not in the gaming business. We are not in the hotel business. We're not even in the marketing or promotion business. You see, we live and die by the reactions we create. Let me share with you what I mean. Let's say you and I went out for dinner tonight, and we sit down at a table, and now the entree comes out to the table and it's put down in front of us. I look at it, you look at it, we react to it. That reaction is our product. Let's say plates come out another time. They hit my table, and let's say I'm with Mark, they hit Mark's table. No reaction. That plate failed. You see, the cook in the kitchen thinks he's making a product with that entree. He's not. He's creating a reaction with that entree. The product is the reaction. When I sit up, that's the product. You see, everything we do is a process in this business, and that process must establish a positive reaction. That reaction is, in fact, our product. So think about it. We don't market. We create reactions. We achieve it through marketing, don't we? Because if there's no reactions, the marketing sucks. How about promotions? We don't promote. We create reactions through promotions. If there's no reactions, the promotion sucks. How about serving? We don't serve people. We create reactions while we serve people. No reactions? Lousy service. How about music? We don't play music. We create reactions. We achieve it through music. The product is the reaction, not the music. We need to understand what people react to and what drives human behavior. And what drives it is reactions. So I suggest to you that we don't sell food. We sell reactions. We achieve it through food. And we don't create plate presentations. We create reactions. We do it through plate presentations. And I, for one, if I got to redesign that plate 100 and frickin' times to get that reaction, so be it, because I understand we are in the business of reactions. So what really drives success in this business? I call it reaction management. I actually own that term. And in all of our management training and corporate culture programs, we teach the premise of GROWs, G-R-O-W-S, which are guest reaction opportunity windows. Moments in time where we spec reactions into our business and we build revenue, because great reactions creates great transactions. It has to start with the reaction. So when we take a look at our business today and look at the environment that we're in and the pressure from lack of travel and everything else pushing upon our industry, fact of the matter is reactions mean more than they ever have before. We need people reacting to what we do. Our employees need more of a bounce than they've ever had before. Our managers need more engagement than ever before. We need people leaving this city reacting to it, talking about it, praising it. The world is watching us, and now we have to deliver. Because make no mistake, we will live and die by the reactions we create these next few months. And each third's reactions are a little different, aren't they? So we better think about going through this process. You know, this is a great time to say, you know, I'm going to take it easy during the pandemic. You know, the problem is with something like this is it gives us a great excuse to wait, right? To pause, to freeze. When I was in about 120 episodes of Bar Rescue, I was doing a bar in Detroit, Michigan. And like I do every episode, I looked at the owner and I said, "Why are you failing?" And this owner looked at me and she said, "I am failing because of the euro in Greece." That's what she said to me in suburban Detroit, Michigan. I went back to my hotel room that night and realized 120 bar rescues. Never once had anybody looked at me and said, "Jon, I'm failing because of me." And then I started to realize, wait a minute. Every time I meet a failing person, there's always an excuse involved. And then I started to dissect what is an excuse. Well, an excuse is the reconciliation of a mistake. Either you did something you shouldn't have, you didn't do something you should have, or you otherwise screwed up, so you come up with an excuse. Now you feel all warm and fuzzy, you can sleep at night, you can wake up in the morning. The excuse makes everything feel better. But in almost every case, that excuse is BS. And that was my last New York Times bestseller. BS. Stop the BS, the excuses that are holding you back. Think about it. If you wake up tomorrow morning and look in the mirror and blame our shortcomings on anything other than yourself, you have no reason to change. It's that guy's fault. Go ahead and shave and go to work. But if you wake up tomorrow morning and own it and look in the mirror and say to yourself, "I'm not doing as well as I should be because of me. There's more I can do. There's routes I can take, programs I can implement, excuses I get rid of." If you own failure, if you own shortcomings, if you own this freaking moment, we can get out of this. Because when you own it and you look in the mirror, you won't like it. Then you'll change. Then we'll act. When you put this pandemic on a list of excuses, you have every reason in the world not to act. So what is an excuse? It's the common denominator of failure. In almost every case, when somebody screws up or fails, they use an excuse. We're Las Vegas. We have to take excuses out of this scenario right now. This is a great time to leverage excuses, but it's the time that we can't leverage excuses. You know, the fear excuse, I'm scared of what's going blah, blah, blah. Well, millions of people are scared. That's not a valid excuse right now. Be smart, but don't be scared. How about knowledge? I don't know what's going to happen. None of us do. You can't have knowledge as an excuse right now. You need to be nimble. We need to take steps. You need to be out in a room. You know, I removed all the chairs from my managers' offices to force them to be in restaurants. You should too. No time in offices now. This is the time to be belly to belly with customers, looking in their eyes, seeing their reactions, driving us through these thirds so we can be successful. Knowledge is key. Get it from your customers. I love the circumstance excuse. Oh, you know, I can't make money during the recession years ago. I know people who made millions during the recession. How about guys who are making masks now? Circumstance isn't valid. We can all make money in almost any situation as long as we're open. And then I love the scarcity excuse. "Oh, Jon, you know, budgets are tight." My grandfather used to say, if you don't have a thick wallet, you better have a thick idea book. Steve Jobs started with nothing. Scarcity is BS. That's not a valid excuse. We need ideas and we need energy. Now, we're Las Vegas. We don't fall to excuses like this. We're the greatest feeding, lodging institution in the world. Think of how good we are at this. Think of the amount of people that we serve, that we accommodate, that we check in, check out, entertain when we're in full swing. Think of the power of what we accomplish. Keeping people safe, protecting their food sanitation, protecting their environments, keeping them comfortable. We are really good at this, and nobody is better. So Vegas, we don't do excuses. Not Las Vegas. We try to move forward. So think about this for a couple minutes. Over the next few months, as the pandemic starts to wire down and as the marketplace starts to get more comfortable, we are going to see great marketers in our city bubble to the top with incredible programs that are going to change the dynamic of their business's performance. We're also going to see great promoters come up with great events and great activations, and they're going to bubble to the top, and we're going to be applauding them. We're also going to see great operators step up with new programs, procedures, communications, messaging, and they're going to take us to the finish line too. So we're at the starting line. And if you buy into being paralyzed by this, you're wrong. Be empowered by this. Be the one who comes up with that idea, the marketing idea, the promotional idea, the operational expertise. Be the one who understands how to connect with each of the thirds. Be the ones who lead us through this, because America's watching Las Vegas, and we are the leaders. This is not the time for excuses. This is the time to step up, just like we're doing today. All of us together, hundreds of us on this call right now, because we believe in each other. We believe in ourselves, and we believe in this city. There is none better. How about this as a scenario? How about international travel doesn't come back for years, and Las Vegas becomes even a stronger destination because of the propensity for domestic travel? What about that as a scenario? Not bad, huh? Let's seize that. Let's be the destination. Let's win. Let's not be paralyzed. No excuses. Do you agree? If you agree with me, then let's act. Let's sit down and think about those thirds. Let's put together some nimble flowing marketing plans, promotional plans. Let's involve our staff so they trust us and they're energized. Let's energize this city. Let's act. Let's get noticed again. Let's make this happen together. I am so committed to this city and helping you. I'm available. You can contact me in my office. We're available to help. I want to show the world how Las Vegas steps up and gets through this. This weekend on TafferVT.com, I have a whole free program that we're posting that all of you can log on for free on Resetting America. We go through marketing, promotional programs, and different approaches in much greater detail. The most important thing is that today is the start of something. Don't let this hold you back. Don't let it paralyze you. Cause it to empower you. Cause it to stimulate you. And we will come out of this strong.
That's awesome, man. I feel like I should run up to you and grab your leg and hug you. That's I've been taking notes, and I got more pages of notes in this last 20 minutes than the last 3 months. Thank you so much, man. You are a beast. You are the best at what you do, and I feel personally like we just got to nibble. And so that's why I wrote down the TafferVT.com, yeah?
You can go there, and there's all this content available, Mark, and everybody can log on for free, and it really expounds a lot more on what I've talked about today.
So a bunch of you watching sent in some questions. I want to get to some of those, but I wrote down a few things that I thought, just sort of kept coming back in your discussion. It's the trust factor. It's so massive in not only just hospitality, but obviously all walks of life, right? We hear this word thrown around. And for me, how do we take everything that you just discussed and focus, sort of put the blinders on there to create sort of a tunnel for people to feel that trust? Because that's not an easy thing to accomplish, right?
No, it isn't. And what worries me, Mark, is that we can do everything right and the customers can blow it for us. For example, if I was driving up to a restaurant to have dinner tonight and there was 8 or 10 people standing in front of the restaurant without masks, all standing next to each other, I probably wouldn't go to that restaurant tonight. And the sad thing is that restaurant could be doing everything right, but the behavior of the customers chased them away. So, we struggle with mask or no mask, yes mask, no mask, and nightclubs are really disputing with these issues. I think that as an industry, we need to make a decision. If I owned a nightclub, Mark, and you know this business just like I do, buddy, and I played country music in that nightclub, I wouldn't have a rock and roll crowd, would I? By my music choice, I segmented my audience and chased hip hop and rock and roll out the door. The next week, if I played rock and roll, I'm not going to have any country people there. I've pushed them out the door. Well, yes mask or no mask is no different than making a music format decision. We can't be everything to everyone. If we're going to be an operation that doesn't require masks, and that's working for our environment, so be it. But understand, to access the second and third, they're watching. So I'm a real proponent of mask policies, biting the bullet, just like you do in music programming and other things that segment our business, and taking a position that provides the visual environment of safety or freeness, if you will, that will drive your next level of business.
Yeah, I had written down here masks to talk about masks because it is the subject of right now. In this moment, everything that I'm hearing about and discussing is masks. I can't go down on the floor when I walk into this top rank bubble without wearing a mask. Even though every single person that I'm surrounded by has been tested twice a week and I know they're COVID free, I still have to wear a mask, and I'm accustomed to it now. I've got a mask on literally 6 hours that I'm working my shift. I take it off when I go on the microphone and there's nobody around me. That's got to be a tough choice to make, I would imagine, as a business owner, if you're going to say, hey, to enter this facility, you have to wear a mask.
It is. It's a tough choice, but it's no different than music programming choices and product choices and pricing choices. The point that I'm trying to make is we as an industry make equally as big choices all the time. So don't be scared of this one either. And if you put the choice in place, you can always move out of it a few weeks later. But my point is, trust is really high on the list right now. Somehow we have to communicate trust in what we're doing.
Valerie Moon from Treasure Island wrote here a question. Do you have any, or do you know of any safety concepts that have not yet been revealed for public gatherings, such as in bars where people are close to each other? Is there anything coming that you know of that may not have been revealed publicly yet?
Well, the only things that I've seen looking at technology is some ultraviolet burst lights that I've seen in environments where they burst ultraviolet light and it sanitizes the room. The problem is that it'll burn people's skin. There's not a real technology solution right now. So I don't see anything around the edge other than plexiglass separation, redesigned HVAC systems, right, that keep air pockets controlled. Those are the kind of directions we're going in. But there's no technological marvel that's going to come out and solve this situation for our nightclubs. Nothing I see.
Brooke Urich from NMR Events asks, do you think day and night clubs will ever be restored to their former glory?
When I'm an old nightclub guy. The problem with nightclubs is most nightclubs do about 70% of their revenue 16 hours a week. Think about it. Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, maybe Sunday night if there's Sunday night football, whatever it is. So think about those 16 hours a week when nightclubs generate all of their revenue. They're packed. That packedness, that energy is what drives that 16 hours. So in order for a nightclub to make money in today's environment, they now have to generate revenue twice as many hours. So a nightclub would have to be at least 50% capacity, which is our new fill level, at 32 hours a week to compensate for the loss during those 16 hours. So when you take a look at that, now what happens? I envisioned a nightclub of the future, and I was asked to sketch one out the other day. It didn't have a dance floor. It had a little platform next to every table where people could dance. It was more ultra lounge-like, where I'm dancing at my table, Mark's 6 feet away dancing at his table. There's a little dance floor lighting over each table, and people are dancing all over the room, and there's different platforms, and there's still an energy level, and people are moving, but it's not a packed dance floor. So I think those are the kind of things that we're going to see going forward. I think COVID is going to force sort of an ultra lounge concept to start to come back.
There's so many great questions here. We talked about Vegas a lot. You're a big proponent of Vegas. It's home for you. It's home for me. We love it. What makes it, in your opinion, the #1 tourist destination in the world?
Well, what makes Las Vegas special certainly is depth. We have critical mass. When you think about the fact that the shows we have here, the entertainers we have here, the nightclubs that we have here, we just have a critical mass of offerings that is incredible. And make no mistake, our laws with regard to gaming make this a much, more appealing destination. We own the gaming space long before other states and other casinos really picked up that territory. So I think that critical mass is what drives our success. And Mark, right now, without shows, without nightclubs, we're suffering in a critical mass stage. That's why it's so important these next few months that we figure out how to operate safely so that we can move into the next phase and get these venues open.
I come from the Broadway world before I transitioned into hosting sports, and I spent, a decade living in New York City on stage and getting great at subletting my apartment and going to Connecticut to do a play, or Massachusetts. And, one of the biggest things that I wrote down and I circled it was your reactions. What business are we in? We're in reactions. And I always preach when I talk about shows that people are choosing to enter a theater for 2 hours to forget about the BS that they're going through in their life. It's my job as an actor, as an entertainer, as a host, as an athlete, to make that guest forget about what's going on in the world. This is by far the greatest challenge that I think we face in both sports, entertainment, hospitality, to earn their trust so that when they walk into whatever it is, a restaurant, a show, a sports event, that they are going to forget about COVID for that time. And where'd this question go? What can we do to help our convention event customers feel safe and convince them to fly to Vegas and attend conventions and events again? And that's from Linda Ness at Evolution Event Services.
I'm one of the founders of the Nightclub and Bar Convention, which is a pretty substantial convention that now has been coming to Las Vegas. I think it's 38 years. And I ran it for many years. And when we first started the Nightclub and Bar Convention, we used to move it from city to city. So we'd have it in Atlanta one year, Chicago one year, Miami, Dallas one year. And we were never successful till we came to Vegas. We never ever could generate the traffic that we did in Vegas, having the predictability of being in Vegas every year. Las Vegas made that convention successful. And I know that there are many other conventions that feel the same way. We provide an experience. We're not a meeting facility that people that come through. We're a destination. And the things that we provide in this city are a powerful market advantage for us. So I think that we have to look at maybe new packaging for conventioneers. I think we have to maybe infuse more amenities like show tickets, like things, create more inclusive packages in Las Vegas as we go forward. I think that there is a value orientation to this. So certainly safety is going to play a key in how we function in a convention center. Certainly how we sell tickets, how we communicate what the event itself will be like. But if you take the cocktail parties and the other events out of this scenario, we're greatly handicapped. That's why it's so critical we get to the next phase in the city so that we have all of the amenities that make our meetings so successful.
Yeah, I wrote down the thirds that you talked about as well, because I think that can apply across the board. The first third being that value guest, that younger demographic. The second third, a little bit older, a little bit more disposable income, who has feels that trust. And then that third where they're absolutely certain they're definitely an older demographic. They have a lot more disposable income. I think that can apply as well to these conventioneers and the people coming here throwing these events. There's going to be that first third that's looking for a value convention, and we're just coming because we know price point's going to be affordable right now. Maybe we can get a better deal on that room, so on and so forth. This has been unbelievable. Michelle Springs, I want to throw one more question at you. Michelle Springs from 24/7 Productions. And this is an interesting question. Will the hospitality, specifically restaurants and bars, have to raise rates on food and beverages to compensate for capacity? And I know you had mentioned that before, maybe reducing menus, reducing lists, but price point, are they going to have to, adjust there?
I remember years ago, and I'm probably older than a number of the people on this call, I remember when we had high gas prices. And you guys might remember this, and they put a surcharge on in taxis, right? They put a surcharge on in airplanes for a fuel tax. Remember that just a few years ago? So, this COVID add-on, this tax, this premise, I'm not opposed to that. People buy into that. One thing about our industry, everybody knows we're in trouble. We don't have to hide that fact. Let's embrace it. Let's put together that COVID fee. Maybe a percentage of that fee should be shared with employees so we can communicate it effectively. There's a $250 per head COVID fee to cover our additional costs, and a percentage of that goes to help our employees. So there's a way to do this correctly, but I think it is going to happen.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, it has been unbelievable to sit with you through this new tech, this new world of technology that we're living in. I miss you. I miss seeing you at all our games. I see you all over the place, what you are doing for not only just Vegas, but literally for the world. I see you on the news, your show. Everybody is reaching out to you for guidance. And I know everybody watching this afternoon is so grateful for your time. I cannot thank you enough. It's like I said, I've been sitting here taking notes. It's a master class, and you're the best at what you do, man. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, Mark. I love this city and I love all of you. So it's an honor to be a part of us.
Appreciate your time. I'm going to turn it back over to Linda Richardson, president of LVHA. Thank you for having me, Linda. Thank you to Jon again. And thank you to everybody for tuning in.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. And don't forget that Jon will be offering Taffer virtual teaching, Resetting America. There is no charge to participate, and you can go on to Taffert, TAFFERVT.com and get more information on that. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you on July 9th, and we are going to have a little fun with our Fogo de Chao chef. And take care. We'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.